Don't be.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
Good.
To see you again.
To see you. Exciting today, our Q&A.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is a very interesting question.
Yeah, it's a little, it is interesting, but it's complicated, right? It's got so many facets to it. And even though I know we're prepared for the answer, I don't think that we could fully answer it because we don't have all of the entire context, right?
Right. We don't have a lot of detail, and we don't know, exactly what's happening. So, we
right based on the information that we have.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Okay, good. All right. So
hold on. Once again, don't have my mic in place, and my sound is probably lousy. So here we go. Now I have better sound, hopefully.
Let me move my mic up a little bit. All right. Sound check.
Yes.
Sound check. All right. Let's start with the question.
Yes. I'll read it.
Okay.
No, you read it.
You want me to read it?
All right, I'll read it. My partner is overly controlling, and it's driving me crazy. He wants to manage every aspect of our lives, including my behavior. He needs to control everything in order to feel safe and secure. His actions are suffocating me, and I feel lost on what to do. Help.
Yeah, I can imagine, right?
That's a challenging circumstance for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll pull up the other slide, but I think that it's complicated. It's hard to answer this question because again, the dynamics, right? What is it? What else is going on in the relationship that would cause the partner to want to control? And what else is going on with the partner? Because I have a lot of compassion for, people that need to control. They're dealing with a lot of anxiety, right? And
fear and anxiety for sure.
Right.
So, in a session, this would be a long conversation, and we'd have context and backstory and specifics, but we don't have that here.
Right. And so it's very one-sided because we don't know what the partner is going through and how, it's a dance. If you're in a relationship, you're in a dance. There's give and take. There's some responsibility on both sides. It's not just one situation. I mean, how about if the partner is a party person, right? And they're like, you got to get to work tomorrow. You missed a few days, and this is what they're calling in.
Okay, let's not hypothesize.
He's controlling. Okay.
let us not hypothesize on what the details might be.
Right.
Based on the limited information that we do have, let's answer the question as best we can, and hopefully this will be helpful. So, starting off with recognizing and validating your own needs and feelings, right? Acknowledging that your feelings are valid. And if you feel stifled or controlled, this is a sign that your boundaries are being crossed. You need to remind yourself of your autonomy, your personal space, your well-being, and that all of that matters as much as your partner's feelings.
Right. And also, equally for your partner, his boundaries or your partner's boundaries, her boundaries, they matter as well. It's so
Right. And we don't know the gender. We don't
right.
know
No,
the gender of, who sent this in. So yeah.
right. And then understand their insecurity. So again, a lot of compassion for the person who is needing control. Control again is based on fear and insecurity, and so understand that they have this insecurity. So controlling behavior stems from that deep-rooted insecurity and fear, and while it's not justified, their actions aren't justified. Understanding that these underlying issues may these issues, they may help you to understand where your partner is coming from, and also it allows you a little space to think about it, to consider how to approach and have the conversation with your partner if it is recognizing their insecurities and their fears, where it stems from.
Yeah. And taking that time as the partner, the individual who sent in the question, and ask yourself, what are the specific fears or insecurities that are driving that need for control? I mean, that allows a shift in perspective, right?
Right.
Like what in this individual's history is driving this behavior? And so when you have a better understanding of what your partner is going through, that can be conveyed within, a communication between the two of you, and lead to a really rich conversation about maybe a better way for those needs to be met, and just validating those feelings, right? That your partner is having. That can go a long way. So the next one is, did I step on myself? Communicate openly. Communicate openly and calmly.
Right.
A conversation, like I was just saying, a conversation in a calm, non-confrontational manner, using I statements to express how their behavior is affecting you. Things like, I feel restricted when I'm not able to make decisions freely. I need some space to express myself without feeling judged or controlled. And so, emphasizing that your goal is to find a balance that respects both of your needs.
Right. And that, clearly, when you're having that conversation with your partner, you want to set the clear boundaries, right? Clearly define what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, what they're comfortable with, what they're not comfortable with, right? So boundaries include maintaining friendships, managing time, engaging in activities that make you feel fulfilled, and again, with I statements, I need to be able to spend time with my family or friends without feeling guilty, and I want to respect each other's space and decisions about how we spend our free time. And so boundaries, they should be fluid, but some boundaries are not negotiable, and they should be committed. Unmet expectations are usually because there was not a conversation about the expectations. And so have a conversation. And, when you're setting these boundaries, it's not about controlling each other. It's about protecting your mental and emotional health.
Yeah. And then seek mutual respect. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect. Encourage open and honest communication where both partners feel heard and valued. This can only help in fostering a more balanced dynamic. There are two people in the relationship, and they're each, worthy of respect and consideration, and being seen, heard, and valued.
Right. I mean, if if you don't have these conversations and you start building resentments and there's rejection, then there is a point where the intimacy, where in the beginning it was so close, it starts to there's distance that's created because of these other emotions, right? And so, leading to the next one, the empathy and understanding. Sometimes controlling behavior stems from the anxiety and the fear, and it's not an excuse for their behavior. But when you start communicating with compassion and you express empathy to your partner's feelings, and you also allow for the personal space, it allows for a continuation and a growth of the intimacy that is what you want in a relationship. You want, the intimacy is part of the relationship that keeps the relationship strong.
Yeah. And just kind of circling back to something that you said a moment ago, when that resentment builds up, it frays the fabric of the relationship. And, it too much of that, and it will leave the fabric all tattered and torn and worn and just, I'm getting an image.
Okay, you're getting an image.
Focus on your emotional well-being and self-care. Engage in self-care practices that help you connect with yourself. Spend time with supportive friends, pursue hobbies, do things that bring you joy, and this will remind you of your autonomy and help you maintain a sense of self outside of the relationship. Ensure that you are taking time for yourself and doing the things that bring you joy, fulfillment outside of the relationship. This is something that I've seen often where, people, they get into a relationship and then everything else falls to the wayside. And, then you're kind of siloed from the rest of your friends and family, and it's just you and your partner in this relationship 24/7. And that would not be my recommendation. So, maintaining a sense of individuality can also help reduce feelings of being overwhelmed by someone else's needs and, fears, anxieties, and desire to control or need to control.
Right. You want to create like a Venn diagram, it's me, it's you, and then there's overlay, but it's not, we are not, one person at this time. And I know that that's really romanticized, that you become one, your better half, your other half. And that's just, fiction. It's a fallacy, and it's, great for romantic comedy, but not for reality. You have to maintain your individual person, because, and then if you don't, you really start to, you start to suffer, and then ultimately the relationship will suffer because there's certain needs that your partner's not going to be able to meet. You're not going to have every conversation with your partner. It's just not possible.
Yeah. And, you become like a backseat driver to your own life.
Yeah, exactly. So, encourage professional help or reach out for support. Whether, if the controlling behavior is deeply ingrained, or if the conversations are turning into arguments, it's better to seek some sort of therapy or life coaching, a supportive friend, somebody where you can have a conversation. And a lot of times when we are very emotional, our perspectives are covered. We're not seeing clearly. And so sometimes having a conversation with someone else, both of you having a conversation with someone else, will help you to see, look, that's not benefiting you. And maybe you need additional conversations in order to move forward from whatever is causing the fear, or you're wanting to control the relationship, And so definitely reaching out for support, either professionally or by reaching out to a family or friend.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's certainly beneficial. I once worked with a couple who was having these kinds of issues, and one of the individuals in the partnership was really steamrolling the other one.
Wow.
Wouldn't let them get
Mm-hmm.
their words out, always talking over them. And in being able to work with both of them and establish more equity just in the communication,
Mm-hmm.
and also kind of reflecting the one person's behavior back to them in terms of like really bringing awareness to, this is unfair. You're not letting
Mm-hmm.
them speak. You keep interrupting. If you expect not to be interrupted, then you certainly have to provide that for your partner. That just that bit was really helpful for them to be able to see themselves in the relationship.
Right. If I can. So,
Yeah.
one of the techniques that really helps relationship is that mirroring and learning how to listen. Because if you're having a conversation with somebody and you already know what you're going to say, that means you haven't heard a word. Right. So
Active
learning how to listen.
listening. Yes.
Yes.
As we
Yes.
talk over each other.
Yes. Yes. All right. Okay. I guess we need therapy.
So assess the relationship's health. Consider whether this relationship is a healthy space for both of you to grow. If your partner is unwilling to respect your boundaries or work on their controlling tendencies, you may need to ask yourself if this relationship is truly meeting your needs and if it's sustainable in its current form, because your well-being should always be a priority. Like, we don't want anybody to sacrifice themselves in a relationship and not be treated as equal, right?
Right. And we don't say this lightly because,
No.
having an exit strategy if needed is something that is difficult. But the thing is that at some point you make the decision. If the controlling behavior continues despite your best efforts, and you have to prioritize your safety and your well-being, knowing that you have the right to leave any situation that negatively impacts your mental and emotional health. You have to understand that, maybe it's a trauma bond. Maybe there's a reason that you're with him. Maybe you have issues from past relationships or parental relationships. And so if something's not going right in the relationship and you feel the sense where you're not comfortable in the relationship, that's not what a relationship should look like. And everyone is deserving of love and respect, validation, feeling significant, being seen and being heard, right? And so if you're not getting these things at home, then it's time to really, if you feel like you can leave or you need to leave, you should. If you need help, then you should reach out and speak to somebody, whether it's a professional or, a life coach, a therapist, or a friend or family member that has a different perspective on what's going on in your relationship based on what they've actually seen happening in your relationship, not just that one-sided conversation where somebody tells them all of the bad things of the other person and then you have that second person hates. No, somebody who's neutral, somebody who's mature, who has a little wisdom, that can see what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to feel safe, like you said, valued, and the sense of freedom of expression and authenticity and really being who you are.
Right. Yeah. Relationships aren't prisons, right? Relationships should the goal is to grow together, not to limit each other in any way.
Absolutely. Well, I believe that covers it. And I hope this was helpful. As always, if anyone tuning in, listening today needs help, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here to help.
Yes, and have a fantastic day. And I know it's Thursday, but some people don't work on Friday, so happy weekend. All right, so I'll see you next week.
All righty.